Lip sync is a headline thing that people talk about. It's very annoying when you're watching television and you see somebody's lips move and then hear what they're saying. But there's more to it than that. In the live production world, particularly in live sports, the sound of a cricket bat hitting the ball is something that the fans actually want to see properly synchronised. It really does spoil your enjoyment if it's out. If you hear the action before you see it, that's probably the worst possible. So it's really important to get precise audio to video alignment. And that's what we do at Hitomi. There are some ways that you can do it. Yes, people can stand in front of a microphone and a camera tapping a microphone, but that doesn't really tell you about the cricket bat situation. We can line up lots of audio in just a few seconds, and you know it precisely to the millisecond whether things are in phase or not. That's important if you're doing a surround sound. Say you've got a music event where there's mics at the back of the stadium as well as the front. If they're out of phase with the ones in the front, when you do a down mix to stereo, it sounds like it's in a cave. And let's face it, most people don't have surround at home, they listen on stereo. So lip sync is not just a thing about seeing people's lips move. It's also a part of the experience, but there's commercial reasons for getting it right as well. Particularly in America, where you have lots of people involved in the chain, the sports rights holders, the television rights holders, it's in their interest to make sure that they've got a high quality broadcast coming out. So Hitomi products don't only measure when it's wrong, we also give the reassurance that it's right. When something like the Super Bowl is worth millions of dollars for advertising, you really need to have spot on so that the people don't say, that wasn't a good quality of service, I'm not going to pay.
That feed is the world feed.
Yeah. Plus 26. There you go. I was right. It is a frame. It's a frame out. So on here, we've got special decoder here. So I decode that signal until it's 25 milliseconds out.
So do you tell sounder?
Yeah. Let's get racked. Racked. Can you see camera 4 is 25 milliseconds?
Hello, I'm Russell from Hitomi. That little clip that you've just seen was shot by me at a field trial for our new product, MatchBox Glass. It was taken at Timeline TV's facilities at Ealing Studios, which is the historic Ealing Studios you may have known from some of the classic comedies. That's in West London for people who are not from the UK. Timeline have been working with Hitomi products for some time now, and we are part of their regular workflow. They are an outside broadcast specialist, but they do quite a lot of different types of events, not only sports, they also do entertainment events, and anything that's live needs to be lined up. So they rely on Hitomi solutions in order to do that for them. For those of you who aren't familiar with exactly what Hitomi does, we make those wonderful machines that measure lip sync, and it's a very simple approach, but it's a very accurate one. We have a two-part solution. At one end we have a generator, which is a special test pattern, perfectly timed. The signals that come out of that are absolutely spot on, and we know exactly what the pattern's going to be. Then goes through the broadcasting chain, or whatever it is that you're trying to measure, and at the other end we have our analyzer, which is looking and listening for that perfect test pattern. It knows what it should be, and what it finds versus what it should be is the measurement. It's fairly straightforward, but it relies on it being wired in. So the generator has to physically be in the broadcast path with its cables going into the router, and that is what gives you your perfect source. What we've not been able to do up until very recently is measure as if you were in front of the camera. So we talk about lip sync. Well, that's seeing people's lips move whilst you're looking at them. And the MatchBox Analyser doesn't actually analyse people's lips. It does something more accurate than that. But we wanted something which would be as good as having somebody standing in front of the camera. So we came up with the idea of having a mobile phone app. The technology that everybody's got in their pocket and they don't have to carry around with them something extra is a mobile phone. I should stress that Glass works on iPhones only because we have to be very precise about the timing between the screen and the speaker. We have characterised every single type of iPhone and iPad, and we know exactly what the audio to video delay is when we play out our app. So I'm going to start it for you. We just have an icon here, Hitomi Glass. Hit that, it starts pretty much immediately. So I've got the sound off at the moment, I'm going to turn the sound on. You can see it's a moving QR code, a special flash, and a sound that's a little bit robotic-like, something from Star Wars perhaps. So I can mute that very quickly for you. When you're on location and you want to know whether your lip sync's right or not on a particular setup, you just hold this up in shot. It doesn't have to be really close. As I'm doing it just now is fine. Turn on the sound, and there's data in the sound. There's also data in the picture. What I was saying about we've characterised every single type of iPhone and iPad, well, this moving QR code, part of the data that the analyzer is receiving is what type of phone it's running on. So the analyzer then loads up parameters that we've characterised for that phone and makes adjustments accordingly. This thing is free, okay? The app is completely free. You can distribute it to as many operators or so camera people or a reporter doing a piece to camera, people going around the world doing live links. All you need is your iPhone. The clever bit's at the receiver, and there's a license required to receive it properly at the other end. But I'm digressing. That's what Glass does. It all had to be tried, and thanks very much to Timeline for their patience. We went to them on 3 separate occasions. We lined up the motor racing and various soccer games. The one that you saw in the clip there was the Women's Super League. And that was a particularly interesting one because the guy who is with the headphones on, he's a good old friend of mine, Andy Reid. He's been in the live broadcast world for many, many years. He's hugely experienced. And he was very suspicious that for this particular coverage, which was a remote production, by the way, they hadn't sent a big truck, they just sent a little van and a few people. The thing about remote productions is they tend to use quite a lot more encoding before it gets back to where it's mixed. And that's likely to have difference in delays as a result. And he was suspicious that there was going to be a frame delay between video and audio. He thought the video had been delayed by 1 frame relative to the sound. So the clip where you've just seen him smiling and saying, yes, I was right.
There you go, I was right, it is a frame. It's a frame out.
His golden ears could tell the difference, but not many people's could. So he was proven right there. The lovely thing about measuring it is it takes out all of the discrepancies and opinions, and lip sync is a very subjective thing. Some people say I think the sound's ahead, some people say I think the sound's behind, and by how much, the answer's to measure it. And that's what Glass does. It's really effective, it's accurate, and all you need is your iPhone. In fact, it's so accurate that you can use it as a ruler. I've done this at exhibitions. It's where you have the iPhone in a holder and take the microphone, move the microphone away, And I typically move it about 3 feet because that's about as far as my arms can stretch. And you see the reading go up by 3 milliseconds. Bring it back and you see it change again, go down by 3 milliseconds. People say, oh, how's that? Well, it's fairly simple physics. The speed of sound is a millisecond a foot, and glass is that accurate. So to return to the application at Timeline, they often have a different setup each week. So the same equipment might be doing the golf one week and the next weekend it's doing soccer. And what's required for one outside broadcast can be very different to another. And so the settings that are in the equipment might be old compared to what's needed this time. And things get forgotten. So something that measures when it's wrong, but more importantly, prove when it's right. The bit that follows from Andy saying C8 was out, and he asks Rack to change it by 25 milliseconds, is they do the test again, and it's 0. And when it's 0, they know they're good to go live.